Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cut Shield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cut Shield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cut Shield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today. Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is a very special guest. I've got Tim Turner, owner, creative of Envious Gamewear. How you doing, Tim?
I am doing well, Ben. How's it been?
Oh, Ben's been tired. Like this, we just had our second baby 4 months ago, and she is a cranky butt. She had shots yesterday, and I think she finally went down about 5 minutes before we sat down live on this episode. So, Mama's in.
It gets better. Yeah. I got two myself. My youngest was the toughest, and they get better.
Yeah, well, so I have an almost 4-year-old son who I have full custody of, and he is an absolute tear. He's like, "Dad, what are you doing? Dad, what are you doing? Dad, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm getting ready to do the pod, bud." He goes, "Oh, well, but I just want you." And I'm like, "Well, I want you too, buddy, but it's bedtime. It's 8:00 and it's time for bed. And he's like, "But Dad, I need a drink. But Dad, I need a hug." And so just does whatever he can to delay, and I'm a sucker for him because I just want to make sure that he feels loved.
You gotta be.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I had a rough childhood. I don't want to say terrible, but it was pretty rough, and I just want to make sure that he knows that I give a shit.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah. But it really sucks when he's like screaming his head off because he's been naughty, and you're like, I just want to go in there and give him a hug and tell him that it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
but you got to discipline, So
yes, sir.
So you've got a couple kids. How old are they?
My oldest daughter is 7. My youngest is 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're just getting into skating a little bit more and starting to find the love and passion for it. So they're doing well. They're loving it.
Yeah. Now, do they do inline skate or just ice skate?
I'm teaching them ice first because it's a little more forgiving when they fall.
Yeah.
So if you fall on concrete, it hurts a little more than if you fall on ice. Less.
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
CPS won't bother me if they have just bruises, but scrapes all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah. So I had officially retired from actively playing. I haven't touched a skate until about a month and a half ago. I decided to take my fiance and her foster daughter and my son out to the skating rink and just to let him try it out, and the kid had an absolute blast. And so it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool getting him out there on the ice and see how it's going to turn out for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Once
they get over that fear of falling, it's all systems go. It's all working fine.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is we took him inline skating, so he had a chance to just do a straight up inline. Yep. And he was skating all by himself within a couple of minutes, but he still grabbed, like, the young girl would skate by him. He's like holding out his hand, like, "Hey, hold my hand. I need some assistance."
We'll go a little faster, right?
Yeah. And but he's quite the charmer, and I don't know where he got that from.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, whoa. So, all right. So tell us a little bit about Tim, how did you get involved in hockey? Were you, coming from the Buffalo area, or is that where you're originally from? Is from the
Yeah.
Buffalo area? Because that's
Yep.
where I knew you from.
Yep. That's right. I've been born and raised.
Yeah. So now, tell us how you got into the sport a little bit. Um,
In the ice or roller or just in general?
just in general, just how did you fall in love with the game of hockey?
I honestly don't know how I fell in love with it. My one of my best friend of growing up, his dad played hockey for a long time growing up when we were kids, and when we were in preschool, we'd shoot around in the backyard as much as preschoolers could shoot, but it's more of a run around like chickens with your heads cut off. We were doing that, and we enjoyed doing it, and like my father never played hockey. I had no family that ever played hockey besides myself now, but just I guess I got it from a friend instead of a family thing. So I just kind of got the passion for it just from enjoying shooting a ball at that point, and then evolving into a puck, and then learn how to skate, and begging my parents to let me play.
Now, were you strictly a forward or a defenseman, or did you ever have some time in net?
I did have time in that real briefly. We mainly street hockey. I think I only played maybe 2 periods of ice hockey in that, besides like pond hockey with friends. But I was always a forward or defenseman. Just what I did. I never trusted myself in the net. I guess I was too good to be a forward or a defenseman to be in net.
Right.
I was a liability back there in the net.
Well, as long as you were having fun.
Yeah, plus my buddy that was our normal goalie was way better than all the rest of us. So whenever we were on a team, he was strictly the net guy. It's like all time QB.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so we just kind of went from there and just picked our spots from then and just evolved from that.
Yeah. So give me one of your favorite hockey memories or moments, from growing up and then to where you are now. Because you've had a multitude of moments that you probably had that stick out in your head. One of them's obviously playing against me.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about that.
Oh, you put me on the spot here. One of my favorite hockey. I honestly I can't even pick one. Like I just enjoy playing all the time. Like if you ever see me playing, I always have a smile on my face. And
you do, and it's infectious, and it pissed me off.
It's not the same way as the famous Chris Kendall from Buffalo. He always has a smile on his face when he's playing, and when that smile goes away, there's a big problem. It's kind of the same way with me. Like I'm usually out there having fun. I'm not, I'll throw a couple chirps here and there, a little banter back and forth, and having some good times with the guys, having some laughs.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always been. Even like growing up, there was never a, you don't want to poke the bear. I mean, that's just the thing you don't do. But
right.
Just I don't know, as far as like the most my happiest memory of hockey, I can't even think of it. I mean, maybe the first time I learned how to stop.
There you go.
That could be it. That kind of cemented my love for it, I guess. Being able to snow my sister.
There you go. So now, when did you transition from because you said you started out in ice? When did you transition into roller, and then when did you decide to kind of like, you know what, I really love roller. I'm going to stick with roller a little bit, and then go from there.
When I first started with roller, I was probably 10 or 11. I think there was this place called Milshire. It was it's now a field house. It had gradually become a dump, and now it's a field house. But actually, I met George Brown at Milshire when we were about 10 or 11 years old. George the goalie. I played with him, played on his team, and also played against him. And they had a little league that was going on there, and I had a couple friends that were playing in it, and they invited me out. And it's like, I've never played roller hockey inside, and I'll give this a shot, because we always played street hockey. We'd play on skates, and we actually use pucks on the blacktop instead of balls. So we were at an advantage at that point. We were already used to playing with a puck outside. But honestly, just I fell in love with it because it's a more relaxed game, a lot more room. and it actually did help with my ice career too. Just being able to see different things open up as you're playing, and obviously the game has evolved since that time. So you're seeing a lot more openness in the game for ice too. But I guess back then it wasn't really as it was more frowned upon to play roller. But now I think it's become more of a helpful tool for everybody. But
yeah, I went to the Mona Shores Reese Puffer rivalry game last night. My fiance's cousin's husband was coaching on the bench. He was working with the forwards, and Billy had played professionally with the Muskegon Fury for a number of years. And so I was watching the game with what I could because I had my son with me, and there was a 4-on-4 penalty, not a penalty, but there was two penalties within 20 seconds of each other. So I got a chance to watch some 4-on-4, and I'm going, okay, here's a chance to capitalize and use some roller hockey knowledge on this type of game, especially at that high school level. And what's the first thing they start doing? They did the old dump and chase. And I go, and roller, and especially on 4-on-4 on a big surface like that, the worst thing you can do is
all possession. You want possession.
Yeah, exactly. Hang on to the puck. I mean, granted, they were getting outworked, because it was, I think it was 3-1 at that time or 4-1. They ended up coming back a little bit, but they still ended up losing 6-3. And I'm just going, man, like all they need somebody who has experience with 4-on-4 to help them understand, hey, you don't just dump just because you're tired. Skate it out. You got 12 other guys on the bench that can pick up the slack. You can take a half a shift off. You know? I mean, it's like, come on. So I mean, there's like little things like that kind of, I was just like, oh, like here's a great opportunity to really showcase what 4-on-4 is like. And they just kind of blew it. And I'm gonna give Billy some crap when I see him.
Oh, give him some pointers. Don't give him crap.
Well, no, I'm gonna give him crap, and I'm gonna give him some pointers because I'm like, what are you thinking?
Give him the shit sandwich. Give him the shit in the middle, and then give him the good stuff in the front and back.
Exactly. I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, but again, they did well. I was impressed with a couple of the kids. They just had a couple of bad bounces, a couple of weird, what I call roller hockey goals that kind of happen, from weird angles that you're like, this should never have rolled in. And it just bounced off the post and hit the goalie and bounced in. And it's just like, you can't fault that. It's just one of those, you just shoot the puck at the net and hope to God that it happens. It's kind of like when you're playing pool with your dad and you got to sink the 8-ball and you just kind of hit 12 rails and then it goes in the pocket.
You call the wrong hole, but it still goes in one. They gotta change your direction, like that one.
Yeah. Did I call that one? I meant this one, way over here at the opposite end.
Yeah.
So then tell us where you started out getting into the roller, and then what team was that? And then when did you join MyHa? Because MyHa was fairly early in the beginning stages. I want to say it was in year 2, maybe year 3, where you started coming to T2 events for MyHa.
Yep. We were initially the Buffalo Wings. Mike Staple had reached out to our league director, and he got in contact with one of the guys that runs some teams. And the guy decided to his name was Mike. He had some kind of a tryout, and people that were interested. So a bunch of our guys from our Milshire team, we all came together and decided let's give this a shot. So we went out there, and he decided to pick our whole team plus a couple guys. He initially put us in T3, which was an absolute huge mistake. Yeah. And we even told him that because this guy was a notorious sandbagger. So, so that truth be told, he did this on purpose. But so we started off as the Buffalo Wings, and we were very happy with that. And after a couple of tournaments went by, Mike Staple was asking our guys where our payment was. So turned out this other Mike that was team captain, wasn't paying Staple for these things. So we in turn booted him off the team, and we rebranded and we became Buffalo Steel. And that's where that all came from. Because the guy would steal our money. So that's where we came up with that. And also Buffalo, it's a steel city, so it really lent itself to the name. So it was like an inside joke and also a decent name for a team. So we ran with it and did our thing, got our jerseys done, and I think we won the first year, and then came in second the second year. But
that's awesome.
That's how we got involved there.
Yeah, and then when did you decide to? Because you've created Envious Gamewear. It was originally Bardown Creative, from my recollection from way back in the day. And then you've evolved from Bardown, and I remember we had a conversation about doing some work. It never materialized because we ended up jumping ship to a different league that had everything all set up, ready to go. So walk me through that plan where you were like, you know what? I want to do some apparel. I want to do jerseys. I want to get into sublimation and then go from there, because I can tell you right now, I am envious of the unis you guys create because they're sick.
That's the reason for the name.
I know.
No, the honestly, what happened is I went to school for graphic design for college, and as I was playing roller hockey, I'd see a lot of teams getting these like Russian jerseys with like Russian name bars, but they're sublimated jerseys, and they had a kind of a cool pattern on it, the cool designs they had. I thought those are something neat to do, and I was like, I bet you I can do something like that, and gave it a whirl. Just put some stuff on the computer, and I was tossing it around with some of the guys, and they're like, okay, let's make these jerseys. And actually, I'll grab one real quick.
Sweet.
I just happened to be at my one of my best friend's house in California, because we're here for Legends, but visiting. He was on this original team, and the very first design that I ever made for a team was the Chronic Danglers.
Nice.
And there she is.
There it is.
We got a little bit of Towley action on the sleeve there, from South Park.
Towley.
Jersey.
Arsenal.
Yeah. So we decided to go with that one. And we want to be a little more unique and have something that was custom done, because back then there really wasn't a lot of options. You had probably I'm sure you remember that old tour jersey, like the Rage. I think the Rage print. They had like 5 or 6 different designs, and everybody had one variation or another. And there always, one was white with red and yellow. One was white with blue and black. So when those two played, they never worked out together. But I was like, I think we can do something better. So I came up with that, and I had to find a source to print them and produce them, and I did. And from there, it kind of blossomed. I had a couple of teams in that league asking to do jerseys for them, and I designed them. And at that point, I didn't have my own print shop. I was just finding the best person to do it. I went online, and I found a contact, and they were able to do it. But then, as time went on, I got an invitation from Winning Edge, which was formerly Playmaker, but then they had a split. And then Dave Levinson, actually, he owned Winning Edge, and he was in Buffalo doing a Tour Cup series, I think TCS.
Yeah. And
he was the uniform sponsor for that, and he saw some of the jerseys, and he was asking some of the people who designed these, who made these. And my friend Dave Spina, he's like, that's the guy. So Levinson and I had a discussion, and he brought me on board, and all of a sudden I was doing designs for teams all across the country.
That's awesome. I remember Levinson too.
Yeah. Loves a wild animal. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Does
he still have the long mustache, like the long?
Oh, that's evolved into a beard. He was. I just saw him. I shouldn't say just saw him. I saw him in July in Tampa. Okay. He was at Tours. He was playing for a couple of friends that I knew in Michigan, so they're down in Tampa together, and I got to catch up with Lev there. but he's wild. Love that guy.
Man, I'm gonna have to reach out to him and get him on the pod because that
Oh
guy's
yeah,
got some stories.
he's got stories more than you could say, man. He's just he's got them. But yeah, so worked with Lev for a couple years, and it got to the point where he wasn't really making any money because all the I was bringing in a lot of business on top of that. So we decided to kind of part ways, and I figured I'd do my own thing. So that's where Bardown Creative came from, because I was at that point I was doing print work on top of that. I was working for the print shop, so I was like, I can do this kind of stuff on the side. So I was printing business cards, flyers, and all promotional stuff like tents and you name it. I was making it. So I was like, I'll just put it under the umbrella. I do jerseys now too. So I had a supplier to do them. It was a good price, and that's how that evolved.
That's awesome.
But then getting deeper, where Envious came from, I had a lot of people asking about softball jerseys and football, soccer, volleyball, you name it. I was getting requests, and the more I thought about it, I was like, Bardown really isn't the term for anything other than hockey. So if I keep this name for my apparel, I'm pigeonholing myself in one spot. Right. So I kind of went through the ringer, tried to talk to a couple friends and shoot some ideas off them, and just kind of came up with Envious, and it's gone from there.
Yeah, and like I said, and no pun intended, but your unis are absolutely sick. I haven't seen anything, as far as the graphic work, I haven't seen anything come close to it.
Well, thank you. It means a lot. It really does. It's something I really try. I try to give every team the most unique experience they possibly can have. I don't care if they're a team that just plays street hockey, but if they want to look cool, come on over. I'll give you a shot.
Yeah, and it's great to see because now you're not seeing the same kits every other weekend when you go somewhere to play. You're seeing unique, stylish, designs that not nowhere else in the world are you going to be able to see these type of designs. Like I said, in my opinion,
there's plenty. There's a couple guys in the U.S. that can do it pretty well too. I mean, I can't take all the credit for being the only guy that can do that, but yeah, one of the few I'd say. But yeah, that's cool.
I remember coming back in after being away for a few years and seeing Envious Anarchy playing in T2. They would come and they had one weekend. They would come and they had this one set, all white, and then they would come in the next weekend or the next game with their home kits would be something completely different. Yeah. And then they would come to another event and they would have two new sets of completely different. And I'm just like, it's absolutely maddening to see, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and they're one of the first teams that I was working with that did socks and shorts primarily. I know the Envious Rink Rat team, the pro team, they did it with me. There's been a few teams here and there prior to that, but those are probably the two most well-known ones that have done it. Obviously, my team's in Tampa. Whenever we go to tours, we always have shorts and socks, and it's just something new to see. I mean, Alkema did it one time, and I always thought it was kind of a cool idea coming from an ice background. Yeah. The first time I wore pants was foreign to me. I said, why am I wearing pants playing hockey? This does not make sense. I should be wearing socks and shorts. And you wear socks and shorts like ice hockey stuff out playing roller, you look like a fool. So
it does look a little odd. Yeah. I will say that.
If you're wearing just like a girl and just regular, it's the way that these work. It's just basically a pair of shorts that goes over traditional style ice hockey socks, just with a design on it. So it has a cohesive look. So half the time you can't tell if it's pants or shorts and socks. That's my goal whenever I do that.
Yeah. And again, I was never really a fan of the shorts and sock look. But I thought the short pant or the shorts and socks look on pants was really cool. I will say that. Yeah. But but there are certain designs where you go, that's pretty sick. Other designs you're like, I don't know about that. But for the most part, they all look amazing. I will say that they all look pretty sick as far as the graphic work goes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now you made your way into Envious, and then so now what is where do you go from here? You know, because like you've already expanded into other markets. You got the volleyball market, you got the softball market, you're branching into the football, lacrosse. What's your next step with taking Envious to another tier?
Well, we've been in development with wheels.
Okay.
I got a couple test sets out. Actually, some guys in that are playing in my now have some of our test sets, and the reviews have been pretty good so far. So we're gonna keep use a pun. We're gonna keep rolling with that. We have got gloves. Those are coming. Those are actually some are in. We have black and white ones that are out right now. We're still working on logistics of getting custom colors and how that's going to work with minimum quantities and all that fun stuff. But it's an ever moving target. But we're going to get it going. Also, I started working with sticks.
Okay.
We're still waiting on samples to come in because I'm not going to put out a crap product. Especially, I got to test it. I'm not going to not test it and send out 200 of them to people, and all of a sudden they break the first shot. Like that's not how I roll. So
Right.
got to make sure the product's tested and it's quality product and it looks good and it's up to my spec. And if it clears all those boundaries, and we're good to go. But
Right.
once I get those, that might be the next thing out. So.
Cool. Now, I will say, if you need anybody to test out some products, send them my way. I'll help
Yeah, I'll send you
test
some
out as
stuff for
well.
sure. For sure.
I would. All my stuff is 7+ years old.
Yeah.
I think I put my skates on a couple months ago, for the first time. Taking my son skating, and my skates are too small. And I'm going, oh. Tried to send them. I send them to Sharp Shack to see if they can work some magic. Just wasn't able to make it happen. So I got to get some new skates.
Yeah. That's about
So,
time. 10 years is a lot of time to go with
I
the
know,
same.
but now I'm gonna need like a new stick. I'm gonna need new wheels. I'm gonna need new like everything. And I'm just like, is it gonna be worth it for one event? But at the end of the day, I want my kid to be able to say, hey, my dad actually can play.
Yeah. Duff will take care of you at Sharp Shack. Stevie
Yeah.
knows what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't know if you know, but Stevie did do an episode with me. So
Oh, did he?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I had him on a few months ago.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff for the Sharp Shack Inline Hockey
Yeah.
League.
He's an amazing guy, and
Like, he's a beauty. I love Stevie.
Yeah. He's awesome. So, but yeah, so you're going there. Now you've got your hand in this Legends draft event. You're going all over the country. You were in Kalamazoo not too long ago. I think last year in July.
Yep.
You were I just saw you were somewhere else
New
just a
Jersey.
few months ago. Yeah, Jersey.
Yep.
And then now you're out in Irvine, California, doing that. That's the first time you've been out in California, right?
Yep.
And how has that experience been so far? Because that is where you're really going to tell, who's that your event is starting to make the rounds.
Yeah. So far, I can't tell you how it's been because it doesn't start till tomorrow. So we got eval skates tomorrow afternoon. So, and like I said, I'm hanging out with my buddy here in just east of Corona. So we're waiting for it to get started. But we expect it to be pretty solid event. Like, we're not, we've never been out here, like you said. But we do have a lot of California contingent coming in, and really West Coast contingent coming in for the summer event that we have. Then this year it'll be in Detroit. We're back to Fraser. So we're hoping that by coming out here, we're throwing a bone to the guys that are out west. Say, hey, this is our product. If you like it, let's come out to Detroit and have some fun with all the other pro guys that are playing. We get a pretty solid stacked group of players, and especially in the tier 1, tier 2, they're always very, very strong.
Do you know how cool and amazing that would be if you could get 10 of those pro guys, from out in Cali to come to Detroit, maybe even 20 guys to come. And then
we had some it was 2 years ago. We had a couple of Cali guys, a couple Arizona guys come in, like, just giving it a shot, and they loved it. They weren't able to make it work this year in Kalamazoo, but now that we're back in Detroit, and also with this event happening here in California, it's going to show, I think, that we're we're committed to making this work. We're committed to growing it and getting it in the right people's eyes so they can see it and possibly make the trip out and have that warm up before all the big pro tournaments come. And that's kind of how we looked at it.
Then maybe check it out down in the Texas arena rinks down that way.
In Texas,
Vinny Free has been itching at trying to set something up down that way because he's like, man, there's like the rink is close to some hotels right there, and it's a good he thinks it's one of the best surfaces around. I can't remember exactly where he's at, if it's the Dallas Fort Worth, but that's a central hub. Like you can get direct flights right to Dallas. Like I said, the Dallas Fort Worth area, and it's something to think about. I know he's been itching to get in on some kind of tournament series, because he's was talking to me a little bit about how State Wars has their lock in the Midwest, Tours has their lock in the southeast, and Narch has theirs out in the west, and there's really nothing happening in the southwest, and he's like, there should be, because there's a lot of talented players down there.
It really is, yeah. And we've even, just for example, playing it at Tours in Tampa, there's a couple of Texas teams that come in. They're nasty.
Yeah,
they do some good hockey out there.
They do, and if you're in El Paso, I did an episode with the El Paso boys. Their rink dues or their league fees, you'll never guess how cheap it is for a 10-game plus playoffs. Go ahead and tell me how much you think it would be
per player.
Yeah, per player for the whole season.
For 10-week season, I don't know, $90.
No, it's cheaper.
Seriously?
Yeah.
$50.
It's cheaper. It's $40, bud.
How does that happen? Like, how is that place making money?
Yeah, I think it's because it's a city-owned facility.
Okay, yeah, that could do it.
But I mean, come on, like
they're paying it with
what's
not?
What's not to like about that though? You get 10 weeks and you're playing on a nice surface, and you're right there, right on the border. You can go to Mexico.
Yep.
And they bring in a lot of like the Mexican inline national team will come over and play too. So it's pretty nice.
That's real cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll see George tomorrow. I'll talk to him, see if we can pull something down south and see what we got.
Like I said, man, it can't hurt because if you're gonna make it, this Legends thing going coast to coast, you might as well make it from top to bottom as well.
Yeah, we got to hit Colorado still. I think Texas definitely is on our map too.
Yeah,
Florida. I mean, we got a couple places to hit, so we're looking. So.
Yeah, so that's cool. So now tell us a little bit about the Legends event. How does it really, what takes place? Because like I said, it's a draft event. It sounds like you guys do an evaluation skate ahead of time. Yep. Then your team captains draft afterwards. So give us a quick run through with that.
Yeah. So what happens is we generally get our captains from previous years and also from players that have been playing Legends either as a draft eligible player or as a former captain or a co-captain on a team. So we try to keep that circle to get people that are experienced in playing in the event. And once in a while we'll get some fresh blood, but from there with the captains group, so tier 1 or the pro division, they get 4 skaters and a goalie. And we require each captain's group to have a goalie. That way, that they understand that goalie is going to be that proper level. That way, it doesn't ruin the event. Because we've had time like early on the years, we had some pretty big disparity in goalie. Like we had goalies that played pro, and we had goalies that were on shoes that never really played anything really competitive. But they played house league, but it didn't really work. And some of the players got upset, so not to the point where they were crying about it, but it was a note that was made to us that maybe we should think about working that out. So that's what we end up deciding on, is having the captains bring a goalie. That way, that is nipped. We're done. So, so that's tier 1. Tier 2, same thing. You have a goalie, and then you have 3 skater captains. And then tier 3, you have a goalie and 2 skater captains.
Okay.
So, we set the evaluation skates up based on the registration. So on the registration page, there's a drop menu, and you get to select what your talent level is. If you're tier 1, you select tier 2. Tier 2, or sorry, tier 1, you select tier 1. Tier 2, select tier 2, and so on. If you're not sure, then just button mash it and figure it out, or ask somebody. We'll tell you where to go. Then we make our evaluation skate schedule and lists based on those talent levels. So if you select tier 1, you're going to be in the same evaluation skates as other tier 1 selected players. So just because you select tier 1 does not automatically mean you get drafted tier 1. Same thing at tier 2 and tier 3. You could be a tier 3 select. You could have registered as a tier 3 player and maybe undervalued yourself, and the tier 1 players like what they see and they'll pick you. I mean, that's the beauty of the draft. But what happens is we have the evaluation skates based on the talent, and then once all the evaluation skates are finished, we have the tier 1 draft. So they get the top tier guys. They get their choice. Once they're done, we go through and make sure that those names are crossed off. Tier 2 comes in, they draft. And once those guys are crossed off, then we bring tier 3 in, and those captains finish the draft, and everybody gets a spot.
Nice. So now walk me through a little bit of an eval skate for those that don't know too much about it. Are you guys playing like a simulated scrimmage? Are you guys doing some drills, or what kind of what would constitute as an evaluation skate?
It's mainly like a drop-in pickup skate. You just light versus dark. We have everybody's numbers and names on the lists, and all the captains have those lists. So you just basically skate around, show what you can do, and show that you know how to play hockey. And what ability you have is, what they decide, what they think that you could perform in. So that's how basically how it works. Just some people decide to go balls to the wall and skate their asses off, and that works sometimes. Other guys, they sandbag it, and people that know who they are pick them anyway, even though they don't want to be in that. Yeah, they think they're a tier 1 guy doesn't. I don't want to play against tough competition, so I'm going to sandbag. But half the guys there know who you are, so they're going to pick you anyway. So,
right.
So you have to go incognito. You have to have so nobody knows who you are. But that only worked one time, and then everybody catches on.
So that's awesome. Now I think it'd be really cool to see a Legends Pro draft, event like you guys are doing, but with a cash prize at the end of the day. We did do a cash prize for the first 2 years. I think we're planning on bringing that back. I thought we had a cash prize last year. I'll have to ask George. I don't remember. And he runs the financial part of this, not me. I do all the creative stuff for it. No, which is totally fine.
But,
I'm because it's something that
the cash prize is a big draw.
Yeah, it piques my interest, and plus it would really get those guys that really want to play with, that have some real talent out there, so that way the kids can see it and everything like that. So it's pretty cool to see.
It's kind of like the way I look at Legends is it's a competitive tournament and it's a serious tournament, but it's a warm up for the summer events, like the big summer events, like Narch, Tours, State Wars, all the big 3. Legends, you get a chance to get on the rink and play against and with some of the guys you might be playing against and with before it's all huge cash prizes, like 10, 15, 30,000. So you get a chance to actually get your legs going and try some new stuff and play with guys again to get that chemistry back. But and it works same for all the other levels too, like tier 2, tier 3, like same idea. You can pick some guys that you might never have seen. I mean, just for example, a couple of years ago, we actually picked a couple of guys up from our Legends when we won our tier 2 team. We actually brought 2 of the guys to Florida with us for tours. So it was kind of a nice way to pick up some guys and learn who they are and who you got chemistry with.
Well, I will say that my favorite uni for the Legends is the Kit Kat jerseys that you guys have.
Those are clean.
Those are
That was
sick.
Ernie. That was Ernie's
I
team.
love Kit Kats, so that
Yeah,
was my favorite.
Yeah, Ern pulled me aside. He's like, make sure we have red. Like, okay, got you. So they got Kit Kat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That and the Frosted Flakes caught me off too. I was like,
That
man,
was
these
those were
these unis are sick, man.
but the blue on that popped. I think
Yeah.
it must have been the orange with it that really put it over the edge. But I think those are two of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
I would say I might be on an island here, but I love the Gobstoppers ones.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And then also the cinnamon toast crunch from those.
Yeah, the
Those
cinnamon
were
toast crunch was good too.
then Reese. I have to like the Reese's one because
Yeah.
that was the team that won. So,
Yeah.
but they're clean. It's nice. You don't see a lot of orange jerseys, and that worked out that way.
Yeah. It's really cool.
As I'm wearing orange for my team.
Yeah, the Bengals. I see that. So now you got that. You got another adult ice hockey event coming up as well. You said it was about 40 minutes outside in Carlsbad, which is pretty cool. What is next for Tim Turner and Envious Gamewear? After this dust settles, are you taking a little bit of a break, getting back into it, or are you just gonna just keep going until the wheels fall off?
I mean, to be honest with you, my next step after I get back from California, I'm coming back on Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back to Buffalo for a night and a half, and then I'm out to Philly for another BLP event, for a Beer League Players Association event. They're out in Philadelphia. They're doing their annual outdoor rink draft party or draft event. Same idea as the one that's in Carlsbad. They got they have six designs or six teams this year for that one. They had 8 last year, but they thought it was too hefty of a schedule for the amount of players that are there and the amount of it just took up the entire day, and they were like, we want to have fun and explore, so we'll cut it down to 6 and we'll have a second tournament in a few months. So that's what they decided to do. They're having 2 Philly tournaments, and this one is obviously in a week and a half. So I get to ref that though. So
there you go.
Maybe I'll get mic'd up for it.
Are you going to do some sick referee kits there? Because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually working on the ref jerseys, and they're in production at the moment, trying to get the get everything right. I want to make sure it looks right and fits right and feels right in the ice, and I'm also going to make sure that it feels right for roller. Like I do ref jerseys for roller, and got some good reviews on that because it's light. It's not like a typical ice hockey ref jersey where they're just weighing you down.
Yeah.
So I'd make it basically the same material as a regular roller jersey, just cut like a ref jersey.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm excited to see those because I used to ref. I haven't had a chance to put on the skates to ref in some time, but the fiance the other day goes, "Can you ref?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can ref." And she's like, "Does it pay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it pays." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Maybe you should try getting back into that." And I was like,
yeah.
Well, then Daddy needs to get some new skates there, honey. So we'll see.
I enjoy reffing. Reffing's fun.
It is. It really is, And for me, I have a built-in superpower where I can just turn my hearing aids off, so I don't have to hear them chirp back at me.
It's it's a blessing in disguise, right?
It really is, because ignorance at that point is bliss.
Yep. I can't hear you.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Tim. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. With me was Envious Gameware's Tim Turner. Tim, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to chat with me, telling us a little bit about your story. And before you go, because again, I'm in the market for new skates. What skates are you repping, and why do you like them so much?
Right now, I have CCM JetSpeed FT4s.
Okay.
They're custom done. It was a boot build from Mr. Duffy.
Okay.
He actually powder coated my logo on there on the chassis.
That's
I
awesome.
can probably grab the skates. I can show you real quick. Hold on one second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here they are. You got the
sick.
put on there.
Yeah.
Those were Kryptonians. He powder coated in black, and they've been through a little bit of a war, but they're here.
They're worth it.
Yeah, and also these are some of the prototype wheels. So
ooh, even better.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's them rolling. I mean, I have a wide foot, so I CCM skates. I've always liked how they fit, and they've worked wonders for me. So I would recommend those. I've also heard great things about the True Boot. Not so much about the chassis. If you're getting the True Boot, make sure you get either a Mars Blade chassis or Kryptonium, or maybe the new Lebeda that just came out.
Ooh. Yeah, I've been doing some research, and I'm just like, oh, do I pull the trigger on this one, or do I pull the trigger on this one? And I'm just so many options out there now.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable when you skate, though, right?
Yep. So
that's my recommendation.
Well, I appreciate it. Again, we are going to sign off on this episode. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.